Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a airbrush review and spray test. We're looking at a H&S today. We are looking at the Evolution X on a 2-in-1. This is a siphon feed airbrush that comes out, kicks out to the side of the brush. We've got two needle and nozzle setups to have a look at. Let's move in and give it a test. Right guys, let's debox it and take a look. So that's what you're getting in the box. Brush, cup, and your extra needle and nozzle. Brush out the box, it's the Evo. So there's the brush. Really nice. You've got your siphon feed bit that comes out the bottom of the brush there. H&S front end, which you can change over to what needle and nozzle setup you like. So if you wanted to put a 015 in it, a 02, 045, or even if you wanted to put the titanium front end out of the 2024 Infinity, it would go on the front. You can adapt and change to what you want. That's the beauty of H&S's. Cup will fit on the side. Just pushes in at the bottom like that. So that's how the cup sits. To the side. Gives you clearance with your fingers when you hold the brush. Nice trigger. Solid back on these. No cutaway, which I like. Prefer the cutaways without them. It's nice and smooth. You got little grippy rubber rings on this centerpiece here. You take the back off. You get your needle with your markers on it to tell you that it's the 4mm. And if you wanted to check the nozzle to see what nozzle you've got in, unscrew the front. Slide the floating nozzle out and you'll have markers on the nozzle as well to show you what it is. Little rings that go around the actual nozzle. And that shows you what setup you've got in the brush. That just screws back straight on. Nip that up. Crown cap comes off on this. You can take that on and off so you can see your needle if you're working a little bit more detail. No spring tension on the Evos. You'll find that across the board on the Evos. You don't get a tensioner for your trigger. So it's set with like the spring that's in it. But it's a nice, comfortable spring. It's not too hard on these and it's not too soft. It gives you that just enough feedback, I think, on the trigger, moving it backwards and forwards. Comfortable trigger top. Quick connect piece at the bottom where you'll connect your airline. Job done. And you'll find the air on these is a lot more, it feels a little more open. Doesn't feel so choked up. When you get the real like fine detail brushes, the air that comes through the brush is a lot less. These ones that have got the bigger needle and nozzles, you'll find that they just pump a little bit more air out. So this is the 04 setup. We were going to drop some Liquitex ink into it. Pull it through. I'm going to take the crown cap off. So this one's on the 04. We're running 20 psi on this. So we're just going to pull it through and straight away on the 04. Really nice spray pattern. Really nice shading, atomization. All goes down to your paints, guys. If you're putting thick acrylics through it, you won't get it to look like that. You really won't, and you won't get it to spray like that if your paints are too thick. You've got to get your paints dialed in. Nice consistency. And then the brushes just perform straight off the bat. Ooh, see how thin that paint mix is? That's because this is high pressure. I'm going to bring this pressure down. Drop the pressure a bit. And that's it. This pressure could probably come down with a little bit more. But straight in. Write your name. A little bit thin on the paint this is. Getting used to that trigger. But write your name 4mm. That's about 3. So that's the 0.4, and even running low pressure, you can always tell when you've got the right paint mix. When you run very low pressure and use spray, the atomisation's still nice, you know. If this was low pressure with thicker acrylics, you would just not hit that. It would look specular, it would look an absolute nightmare. So getting your paints dialed in, if you want to go detail, right up close like this, but if you want to back off and use this brush for getting a body of paint down, a little bit more pressure on this and you would black this panel out so quick, you really would. So paint mixes are key. 0.4 is nice, I'd say it's a good all-rounder. They will cope with thicker paints slightly better on the 0.4 and 0.6, but you've still got to, you'd still be having your air pressure up if you're putting thicker paints, because you want to atomise it. You want it to go down smooth like that, so you'd be upping your air pressure with thicker paint. If you're coming down on your paint consistency, you're just coming down on your air pressure, because you've got your thin consistency there. You just need to drop your air pressure. But like all the H&S's, just spray really nice. They really do. And most blacks can be grainy. Same with whites. When you spray whites, they're probably the two colours that can be an absolute pain to get the mixing and the consistency right. I found Liquitex black sprays nice. Just goes on what your paint brand is, what you're using, what reducers you're using. Pull that through. With siphon feeds as well, you'll probably tend that your air pressure will have to sit slightly a little bit higher, because you're sort of drawing paint up to get it into the brush. But I must admit, the H&S siphon feeds, they do respond well. They really do. They're on point when it comes to the trigger response. You can see that on the 0.4. It gets really, really well down on your dots and things. If you work in detail, this will do it, you know. This is a brush that will do sort of all of it. I always think the Evo's the one that does it all. It's that in between. You've got your Ultra and your Evo sits, then you've got your Infinity. I think the Evo can cover it all. You can get your real super fine detail down, it can get you wide coverage, and it's a fast brush. That's what I like about it. It wants you to move fast and get the paint out when you use it. But another great one from H&S, it's an old brush, guys. It's not a new one on the market. You still can get these, and it's a great all-rounder. It really is a great all-rounder, solid. You'll have no issues with it, you really won't. It's one of them brushes that, even though it's one of the original Evos, if you buy it brand new now, it's going to be with you for 20 years. 20 years plus. Mine's got to be getting on, my old one, my Silverline's got to be getting on 16, coming up to 20 years old, and it still performs like this. So that's the quality you're getting with your H&S brush. A lot of people say about, oh, the cheap Chinese one, yeah, they're great, they work. They do. You know, these real budget cheap brushes, you'll pick a good one up now and again and it'll last. It will last. But it won't last out one of these. Guarantee you it will not outlast one of these. Your cheap Chinese £20 ones. They really won't. These are just better made, guys. They really are. They're just better made brushes. I always say, if you're in it for the long haul and you want to get really into it, a decent brush, you'll benefit from a decent brush. You'll get better trigger response, you'll get better atomisation, you get better internals with the Teflon solvent proof washers, So you've not got to worry if you, say you accidentally chucked a load of thinners through your Chinese brush and it's got rubber O-rings, they'll just melt. Eventually they'll just melt and you'll have issues with the front end, and you'll be trying to seal it with beeswax and PTFE tape all wrapped round the front. With these you're not got to worry because there's a Teflon washer there. So they're made for the full range of paints. So no issues. But a nice one on a 04. I will hook the 06 up and you'll see what the 06 is. So changing the needle and nozzle on these, it's an absolute doddle. Take the back off, undo your chuck, slide the needle out. Go to the front of your brush, pinch and undo the whole part of the front like that. And there you've got this is what I'm about with your Teflon washer here. That's your solvent proof piece here. So we'll just take that, well you can put that down because in the second setup that you get the front end. So you just literally screw the next one out the tube straight on. So this is the 06. Screw straight to the front. Get your needle for the 06. And you'll have your markers on the back of the needle. Slide that in, down to the front. Don't overpress it. There's no need to force it forward. You just take it till it stops. I usually put my finger on the back to stop the needle moving, lightly on the back, and then just tighten the chuck up like that. Get your back part of the body, screw that back on, and then you're hooked up with the 06. It's like 10 seconds and you're done. The 06 is on. We're all going to need a little bit of pressure because let's drop that up a bit, take it up on the pressure. This empties the cut, I need more paint. And that's the 06. Now you can see how quick that empties that cup. It's just hammered that down. But 06, spraying nice. You know, you want to get some paint down. You want to get some like your primers down if you're doing like plastics or miniatures. 06 will hammer the paint out. It's a very big setup to the front. So I'd go 04 for your detail. I mean, the 06 is like, it's getting down. I'm having to crank the air up in this. It likes a bit more air. But yeah, both perform great. Both needle and nozzle setups perform great. I very rarely use a 06 needle. In fact, I don't. I've got brushes that have got like a 05 max, and I'd be using that for putting like solvent base coats down, or even thinned out clear coats. But it's entirely up to you whatever you're doing. But if you do want to get some paint down, crank the air up and get a lot of paint down, just hook it up with a 06 and it will just batter the paint out the front of the brush. It really will. And then just change over again. Get yourself some cleaner, brush it, wipe and clean your brush through. Take your 06 out. Take the front end off the front. Hook it back up to the 04 and then you're good for a bit of detail again. Because I think the 04 is really good on detail. If you've used the new Ultra, that's a 045 and that just gets great down on detail as well as put quite a bit of paint down when you need it. So that's the next needle changed up back in to the 0. Back into the 04 and you are back on the real tiny stuff again. So a great combo. I think all the H&S brushes that come in on the 2-in-1, I think they're worth getting. They really are, because you're getting 2 needle and nozzle setups. Whether you're going for the new Evolution, I'd definitely recommend the new Evolution with a 2-in-1, because you're getting the 028 that gets ridiculously down on detail, and you get the 4.5 which gets ridiculously down on detail but can put them little thicker paints down and get you a bit wider spray out of it. So a great brush, guys. So there you go, the Evo X, you know, does what you need it to do, guys, and does it very well. And as I say, I always think these they speed you up. The Evo speeds you up as a painter. It did me when I first started using my original Evo, when I moved on to it. Just a fast brush. I think that's what made me pick my speed up with my airbrushing, was using the Evo for so many years. It's a great solid brush by H&S. And as I say, you can upgrade it. You can change the needle and nozzles in it. You know, that's the beauty of them. You're not buying a brush and you're stuck with that set needle and nozzle setup. You know, you buy that and then you can change that. You can upgrade it. You can put the other bits on it. And you've got one solid brush that will take you through your whole journey, and just buy your needle and nozzles. If you really like that brush and you really get on with it, you just upgrade it and change the needle and nozzles. Job done, you know. So Evo X, I'll leave a link in the description. Hope you've enjoyed the little demo, my nice piece of artwork, you know. And I will see you lot in the next one. Drop your comments, tell me your thoughts if you've got one, your experiences with it. It's probably what I've just said about it speeds you up, and you know, they're just a great brush. Thanks for watching.